Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, today, I want to speak to your heart, to your spirit, and to your soul. We are gathered here not just to listen, but to awaken. There is a truth hidden in plain sight, a gift from God Himself that many have misunderstood, overlooked, or forgotten. What you didn't know about the Sabbath might just change your life. Imagine this: the creator of the universe, yes, the one who painted the stars into the sky and sculpted mountains with his breath set aside one day, not for himself, but for you. Not because he needed rest, but because he knew you would. And not just rest from work, but rest for your soul. This isn't just a day to check off the calendar. No, it's a divine appointment. A holy interruption in the chaos of your week, where heaven touches earth and God leans in and says, "Let's meet." You see, the Sabbath isn't man's invention, it's God's invitation. Too often, we think of it as a religious relic, an ancient rule carved into stone tablets. But the truth is, the Sabbath is not about rule. It's about relationship. It's not just about not working. It's about reconnecting, realigning, remembering who you are and whose you are. What you didn't know about the Sabbath is that it is less about what you stop doing and more about who you start spending time with. God is not calling you into idleness, He's calling you into intimacy. The Sabbath is a divine love letter, a moment carved out in time to say, you don't have to strive. You don't have to earn. Just come. Just be. Just rest with me. Let me ask you, when was the last time you stopped long enough to listen? Not to the noise of the world, but to the whisper of your Father. The Sabbath was created for that. It's not a pause button on your productivity. It's a launch pad for your purpose. Because when you slow down to spend time with the one who made you, you don't fall behind, you get ahead. He fills you. He fuels you. He reminds you why you're here. Some of you have been running on empty, trying to outrun the anxiety, the deadlines, the voices telling you you're not enough. But there is a sacred rhythm to life that God designed, and the Sabbath is the heartbeat. It's not just a day. It's a destination, a place in time where you encounter peace, clarity, and restoration. It's where burnout breaks and joy is reborn. Don't miss your appointment. God's already there, waiting not with a checklist, but with open arms. The Sabbath is calling you back not to obligation, but to overflow. To rest your soul has been crying out for. Step into it and watch what happens when heaven meets your week. Let me ask you a question that might just shake the foundations of your everyday thinking. What if the Sabbath isn't just about stopping work, but about stepping into freedom? What if every single week God offers you a key to unlock chains you didn't even know you were wearing? See? The world doesn't stop. It keeps pushing, demanding, and measuring your worth by how much you produce, how fast you move. And many of us have unknowingly bowed to that system. We've become slaves to our schedules, our status, our screens, our striving. But here comes the Sabbath, bold and beautiful, standing in the middle of that chaos like a lion. Roaring, you are free. That's what you didn't know about the Sabbath. It's not a restriction, it's a revolution. When God gave the Sabbath commandment to Israel, He gave it to a people who had just come out of slavery. For 400 years, they were told when to wait, when to work, when to rest. Their value was based on how many bricks they made. But when God brought them out of Egypt, He also had to bring Egypt out of them. He had to teach them a new rhythm, a rhythm of rest, of trust, of freedom. That's what the Sabbath does. It breaks the voice of Pharaoh in your life. The voice that says you're only worth what you can do. The Sabbath declares, no, you're worth everything because of who you belong to. Every time you honor the Sabbath, you are making a statement. You're saying, I am not a machine. I am not owned by my work, my boss, my phone, or my to-do list. I belong to God. That's not weakness. That's power. That's identity. That's freedom. So let me press this into your spirit when you resist the Sabbath. You're not just breaking a command. You're refusing a gift. You're choosing bondage over blessing. But when you embrace it, when you step into that holy rest, chains fall. Anxiety fades. Your worth is no longer in question. The Sabbath becomes your weekly exodus. Your regular jailbreak from the tyranny of performance. Some of you have never tasted that kind of freedom. You've lived life with your foot on. But God is calling you into a new way, a way that looks strange to the world, but powerful to heaven. A way where you don't earn rest, you receive it. You don't fight for identity, you live from it. That's the true Sabbath. Not a rule to follow, but a revolution to walk in. And it's waiting for you. Let me ask you something that might sting a little. When did rest become weakness? When did slowing down become something to be ashamed of? In a world that idolizes hustle and glorifies burnout, we've been sold a lie that stopping means falling behind. That rest is laziness, that if you're not exhausted, you're not doing enough. But what if I told you that rest isn't a sign of weakness? It's a weapon of the Spirit. That's what you didn't know about the Sabbath. It is not just a break from your week. It is a breakthrough for your soul. It's God's built-in strategy for healing the wear and tear you can't always see. Because you might still be walking, smiling, showing up, but deep down, your soul is limping. Your heart is weary. Your spirit is dry. You're tired in a way that sleep alone can't fix. That's the kind of tired the Sabbath was made to restore. See, we weren't created to be constantly connected, endlessly busy, always on. Even Jesus, yes, the Son of God, stepped away from the crowds. He withdrew to quiet places. He rested, not because he was weak, but because he was wise. He knew that if the well runs dry, you can't pour out for others. He knew that the power to heal, to speak, to serve, it doesn't come from endless activity. It comes from deep connection with the Father. And that connection is exactly what the Sabbath is all about. Don't let the world shame you out of the very thing God gave you to survive. Burnout doesn't make you holy. Overwork doesn't make you valuable. Your identity is not found in your busyness. It's found in your being. God did not design you to live at the edge of collapse. He didn't wire your body or your soul to live without pause. That's why the Sabbath is more than good advice. It's a holy command, a divine reset button, a space in your week where God says, "Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." And let me tell you something powerful when you choose Sabbath rest. You're not falling behind. You're moving forward. You're getting filled. You're getting clarity. You're getting strength the world can't understand. That's not wasted time, that's warrior time. That's where revival begins, in silence, in stillness, in surrender. So don't wait until you're broken to start healing. Don't wait until you crash to start resting. God gave you a weapon called the Sabbath. Wield it boldly. Step away from the noise, step into His presence, and find the strength you've been searching for all along. What if I told you that the Sabbath isn't just a pause in time, but a window into eternity? What if I told you that every week God gives you a glimpse of heaven, a preview of the promise, a taste of forever? You see, the Sabbath is not just about rest in this world, it's a divine echo of the world to come. It's a whisper from eternity, calling out through the noise of your week, saying, "You were made for more." This isn't just about taking a day off. It's about stepping into a holy rhythm that reminds your soul that earth is not your final home. Every time you keep the Sabbath, you're rehearsing for eternity. You're learning to slow down long enough to feel the breath of God again. You're tuning your heart to the frequency of heaven, because one day there will be no more deadlines, no more stress, no more striving, just eternal rest in the presence of the one who made you. The Bible calls it a shadow of things to come. Sign? Symbol. Not empty ritual, but rich revelation. The Sabbath is a prophetic rhythm that speaks of a future where time is redeemed, relationships are restored, and peace reigns without end. When you honor it, you're not just practicing discipline, you're building hope. You're anchoring yourself to a promise that the brokenness of this world will not have the final say. Think about it. Why do you think it feels so right, so holy, when you stop and breathe and be still? Because your spirit recognizes the truth. This was how it was always meant to be. In Eden, before sin, before toil, there was rest. Communion, joy without rush, peace without panic. That's what the Sabbath calls you back to. That's the memory it awakens in your soul and the destiny it points you toward. And maybe you've never thought about it this way, but the Sabbath is not just about refreshing your body, it's about reawakening your hope. It reminds you that God is not finished, that a new creation is coming, that there is a rest for the people of God, eternal, unshakable, unending. And every time you rest in Him now, you pull that eternal promise into your present moment. Heaven touches earth, not in lightning or thunder, but in quiet, in stillness, in surrender. So, don't treat the Sabbath like just another day. Don't rush past it like a weekend routine. Stand in it. Savor it. Let it stir your heart with the truth that this world is not all there is. There is more. There is eternity. And it begins in the quiet place where God meets you week after week, reminding you, this is just the beginning. Let me ask you something that might flip your perspective. What if the Sabbath wasn't about religious rules at all? What if it was about love? What if the God who made the heavens and the earth carved out a sacred space in your week, not to restrict you, but to bless you? Because what you didn't know about the Sabbath is this: it was never meant to be a burden. It was always meant to be a gift. Too many people walk around thinking the Sabbath is some old-fashioned law, some outdated tradition. Don't do this. Don't do that. And they miss the heart of it entirely. They see the command but miss the compassion behind it. But when Jesus walked the earth, He shattered that mindset. He didn't abolish the Sabbath, He restored its purpose. He said something radical, something freeing. The Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. In other words, This wasn't about putting pressure on you, it was about pulling pressure off you. God didn't create the Sabbath to box you in, He created it to pull you close. He didn't hand it down so you could jump through spiritual hoops, He gave it so your soul could breathe. Because the Sabbath is not about checking a box or following a rule. It's about responding to a God who says, "Come away with me. Sit with me. Let me love you back to life." That's the heartbeat of the Sabbath love. Ah, Father's love. A shepherd's care. A redeemer's invitation. The Sabbath isn't about getting everything perfect. It's about letting go of perfection long enough to receive His presence. You don't have to earn it. You don't have to qualify for it. You just have to say yes. And here's the truth. When you start seeing the Sabbath not as a religious duty, but as a relational gift, everything changes. Suddenly, rest isn't something you have to do. It's something you get to do. You're not avoiding work out of fear. You're entering rest out of faith. You're not keeping a rule. You're keeping a relationship. Friend, you were never meant to run nonstop. You were never designed to carry it all. God knew you would need space, need quiet, need a sacred reset. So He wrapped it up in a day and handed it to you like a present with your name on it. Not because He's controlling, but because He cares. Because He knows that in a world that demands so much, you need something that gives something back. And that something is the Sabbath. So don't reject the gift. Don't overlook the love. Open it. Step into it. And let the Sabbath show you not just who God is, but how deeply He loves you. So now you've seen it, the truth about the Sabbath is not hidden in dusty tradition, but burning with divine intention. It's not a rule to trap you. It's a rhythm to free you. It's a declaration that you are more than what you do. A reminder that God wants time with you. Not your performance. Not your perfection. Just you. Week after week, the world will try to own your time, your thoughts, your soul. But the Sabbath is God's voice cutting through the noise, saying, "Come back to me. Rest in me. Be renewed in me. This is your lifeline, your refuge, your holy reset. Don't let it pass you by. Don't live another week surviving when God has called you to thrive. Don't spend your life running on empty when the King of Kings has set the table for your soul to be filled. Say yes to the invitation. Say yes to the gift. Say yes to the God who loves you enough to tell you to rest. This isn't just about a day. This is about your destiny. And it begins when you stop long enough to let heaven speak. That's the power of the Sabbath. That's what you didn't know. Now that you do, what will you do with it?